Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yachts, and today is part 3 of my interview with Seth Greenky. He is the president of Greenky Management. He is a personal manager, a musician, and a record producer. Enjoy. You've kind of already answered this question, but what do you think differentiates you from an agent?
Well, when I've given seminars, there's usually a Q&A afterwards, and always the first question is, and it's amazed me without fail, whether there's been a group of 25 or a group of 500, and the first person to the microphone always says, difference between an agent and a manager. So my off the cuff answer, a little bit tongue in cheek, is 500 clients. Manager has a handful. Agents have hundreds. You could be in an audition and you'll find you had 5 brothers and sisters you didn't know you have that are at the same agency. But there are legal differences. There are some functional differences. And there, like I said, there is some overlap. And it also depends whether you're in New York or LA.
What do you find actors should know that they don't know?
That they don't know. No, you don't know what you don't know till you find out about it. And that's true about everybody in every aspect of life.
I gather from all we're talking about that you really enjoy the development of talent.
Yes, I do.
Am I correct in that assessment? What kind of training do you think actors should have?
Well, a lot of actors, some people decide in their 40s they want to be an actor. Well, that's a tough road to hoe. A lot of successful actors have been at this since they're in the 2nd grade. Don't blow lines on stage like I did. But they start training early on, just like musicians. Some musicians are self-taught. I had about 4 or 5 different teachers for my 8 instruments that I eventually I became proficient at. And I was taking lessons all the time. I was practicing all the time. And then I was done with that. I'd play baseball, or vice versa, depending upon what time the sun was going down. So do it. The best training is to do it. Get on stage, community theater, if it's nearby. When you get old enough to go to a drama school, it's all experience. You got to do it. You got to show up.
What about improv? I thought you were going to say improv.
Improv is good. I mean, all these various aspects, from classical to improv to comedy training to commercial training, you're going to need all of them at one point or another.
Yeah, it's true.
The one thing I tell people who are thinking about getting into it, excuse me a second, the thing they got to do is they have to just participate as much as possible. As you learn from your mistakes. You learn, I say, the people who are just starting off, an acting coach, take an acting class, and I can recommend, any one of a half dozen ones, that find out if you can remember other people's words. Find out if you have an ability to deliver a script. Learn how to break down a script. There's a lot more to it than you think. I mean, maybe you're good at memorization, but how's your emotive quality? And you have to be able to not have to worry about, one, am I remembering the words? And then your acting suffers, and vice versa. Well,
you got to be doing 3 things at once.
You have to know if you have an ability for this. Some people do, some people don't. Some people are just natural, just like any kind of skill set in life.
Yeah,
you
like
got to
find out if you're cut songwriting.
Yeah, so it just comes to people. You can't learn how to write a song.
Do you feel actors need to live in New York and LA with self-tapes being a thing?
Self-tape is a thing, but you really should be in the media center, so you are there and ready and able, and you're taking classes live with other people. Now, the pandemic is over. There are live classes. You mix with other actors. You get one-on-one with an acting coach. There's only so much you can accomplish looking into the camera.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need hands-on. You need to feel the vibes. You got to have the presence. And then you can hang out afterwards, and then you talk things over. Talk shop.
Interesting. One of the things I saw on your website is you had you don't want them to send you like a file that you have to download. It needs to be It needs to be.
A
So like, are
link.
we talking, yeah, like a Google Drive? Is that kind of what we're
Go
talking about?
Google Drive, we transfer, but better it should be up on a YouTube or a
Or YouTube? Okay.
Venmo, a YouTube or one of those other similar outlets. So, yes, I send the link. I click on the link. I don't have to worry about it anything infecting my
Is that the
or
fear
taking up
because of
space.
viruses? Have you ever had that? Somebody sent you
Uh,
something, got a bunch of viruses instead of
no, but why
you.
take a chance? They could have one and not
Right.
know it.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. Will you recommend to your actors certain things that they need, you feel?
I'm
Like
recommending
certain
all the time.
classes?
That's my job is advice and counsel.
Yeah. Do you find actors are hesitant to take that, or do you think that they always go, or does it vary?
If well, I've had someone trying to get me back as a manager. She's contacted me like 4 times out of the 4 or 5 times in the last 3 years. Please take me back. Uh, she won't take direction. She says she will, and then when it comes time for the direction to be taken, she knows better. So why do you have me?
So
Why
she
bother?
can't teach.
So I just say you're talented, but you're not going to listen. You maybe will the first time or two, but you do that to me twice and it's done. You get one chance, and then
Yeah.
if you are when you go into audition, you are now representing me and all my other clients. And if you're going to go in there and you think you're going to tell the casting director or the director what to do, that's not
No.
going to work out well for any of us.
It's gonna make everybody look at me like, oh, don't call them in because so and so does this. It's one bad apple spoils the bunch kind
Yeah.
of thing. So you have to, yeah, and that's why you have to be selective and you
I
have
mean,
to
we
be
can talk about
careful.
things beforehand, but in the end, we both have to agree upon what's going to happen and then has to follow through.
So you would have it. So she would supposedly this person would go in. You guys would talk about something. She would come in and then do something else, or what I think you're also kind of hinting at is she would come in and kind of be unprofessional to a degree because she'd be directing.
You can't tell the director when you're an unknown what to do.
Yes.
You are there to fulfill their vision.
I think that goes without saying, but we should say it because
It
some
was
actors don't
I
understand.
was so embarrassed the first time. There were 2 other auditions that were ready. I canceled. I said, I
Yeah.
can't have you going in and doing this. And it was
No.
terrible because lovely lady and very talented, very on the edge. I think a part of it's because she's so much on the edge. There's an edge to her acting, but it was too unpredictable, or it's predictably unpredictable.
Part
Wait
of
till you're a
the
star,
job of an
please.
actor. And then with your star, you can do it. But then even then it can,
Well, yeah,
you
look,
could take that
very
over.
famous people have been fired from because the director said they're not who I want to work with.
Yeah.
That's happened hundreds of times for major people.
You like to stay in contact with your actors and you like to at least be in contact with them like once a week. Is that
They can call me.
still
I get calls, 3, 4 in the morning, you know, and an agent their phone goes off at 6:30. That's it. But I'm 24/7, and some choose to avail
yeah.
themselves, and some don't have the need. But I'm open for it. Some of my clients
Open
have become
24.
very good friends.
Is there anything you would like to talk about that we haven't touched on with actors that you feel actors should know?
Probably, but I'm trying to think of more. We've covered a lot.
Hmm.
Uh, Basically, you got to put the work in, and you have to be willing to listen because we just want you to make the most of your opportunities. We're not here for fun. Enjoy it. It can be fun if you succeed because you measure your success in are you progressing, and if you're progressing, then it becomes fun. You get a lot of satisfaction with it. But I I part of my philosophy is I stick with the client for years and years if necessary. If I believe in you, again, another difference I think, and then this is a broad statement, so nobody should take offense at this, but An agent, has a lot of clients, will send a lot of people to an audition, and maybe one of them will get the job. I have very few clients, and they're usually in different arenas, looks, categories. So you're not going to be competing with people on my roster, but you will when you have an audition. There will be a lot of people of your type, and then it becomes a subjective decision on the part of the casting director and producer. That's part of our making our best guesses. But they have to be, willing to be open to rejection. Is you have to just enjoy auditioning. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get rejected an awful. And getting a job is just a bonus. You have to enjoy the process. You have to not put pressure on yourself. Enjoy it, have fun, look at it as a positive experience. And your feedback is usually you get a call back, which is rare compared to the number of times you will hear nothing. And if you hear nothing, it doesn't mean you stunk up the place. Very important feedback that people don't always realize is, does the casting director call you back for another project? That's very positive. That means they like you. You just weren't exactly what they were looking. And they're looking for a fit. They're looking for a role that fits you and for you to fit a particular role. And you're part of what's in the back of their head. Maybe this will be the right project. Because I had people into audition, for project after project. And finally, the same casting director calls you in for the 8th time, and then you'll get the role for that latest project they're working on. Just as long as they keep calling you back, doing something right.
Agreed. Do you feel it's hard? Because this is something that I've gathered from talking to managers and agents, is that it's harder now to get feedback than ever.
Well, as I tell my people, your feedback is, do they call you back? That's your only feedback. You can't call up the casting director after they've auditioned, whether it's in person or on tape, and say, well, why didn't you take them on? They would have no time in the day to do that. And your only feedback is, you get called in again. How did you feel? And as I tell my people, your next audition could be a life-changing experience. You never know when that's going to happen. And I've seen it happen several times. And that's very gratifying when someone's life is completely turned around and their dream comes true. That's an astonishing thing that can carry you for years.
Do you have a beginning of the day routine?
Into business or just every day?
Anything. Like what? Like do you have a routine? Like when you wake up, do you get a cup of coffee like every day, or is it different every day? Like, what's your thing?
I don't drink coffee. I'm not a morning person. I just move slowly. I gradually get into turn on my computer, emails are almost a 24/7 thing, but I'll see when breakdowns start to come in. Of course, during the strike, they've been very slow. So I've been treating this as a semi-vacation. But I still, I had 2 auditions came in yesterday, which is a lot considering the dearth of activity going on.
Do you have a nighttime routine?
Catch up on what I've put on my DVR. And I still have my computer on my lap. Because sometimes, being on the East Coast, breakdowns will come out 7:30 p.m. out there. So they're 10:30 here. And then if they request an audition, sometimes it might come in after midnight. Well, then sometimes you have to get an audition out to somebody. Contact and send an email to an agent saying, hey, our shared client has this audition, vice versa. Sometimes an agent will. No, I'm more, I go running a lot. I'm in a baseball league. I'm more of an outer than an inner person. I like to be doing things. I like to be active. I like to be outdoors. I play baseball, hardball, good old country hardball.
Yeah.
With a men's league.
Wow.
So I'm an outdoors person.
Yeah.
To sit, meditate, or do yoga, definitely not me. Although my wife does yoga.
So talk a little bit, because from my research, I can see that hiking is very important to you. You've even said that sometimes you'll bring even one of your clients out hiking. It kind of reminds me of the Spielberg idea. He put everybody in a small kitchen to see how they would react. Because he's like, if I'm gonna have to be with them for this long duration, how are they gonna be like when they're uncomfortable? This is kind of, I think he did this for Indiana Jones or something.
I
But
just take
anyways, is that
I've just taken clients with me hiking because I think they'd have fun and
yeah.
show them stuff that I
Is
like.
it is there something special about hiking? Is it just
Well, nature, few people have a bad thing to say about nature unless nature is doing something
yeah,
harsh.
yeah.
But being off in the woods or up in the mountains, it's lovely to look at, and you get a good workout at
Yeah.
the same time.
I saw your video that you put up on YouTube, the stream of consciousness, where you took a picture. It was a video of a river. In some ways, I think you are kind of meditating, even just being out there in the woods, because that's is a form of meditating, even though you're not sitting and being with yourself. You're
I
out
get
with
a certain zen
nature.
out of hiking, going out
Yeah,
there.
that's what I gathered from that you have a Zen like. What are you reading right now?
Not enough, nothing. I'm not a reader like I was when I was younger. That was something I did more when I was younger. But you know, I'm reading breakdowns every day. That kind of
That's some really good literature.
it takes up. I read the news. You know, I'm a
Yeah,
semi-news junkie,
yeah, yeah. I
but
saw that.
I'm not into novels, mystery novels, or things
Hmm.
like that. You know, when I
When
was
you
younger,
were,
I would read, you know, for school.
would you read about like, would you read a book on like managing or something like that? Is that something how you would learn or no? That's not your thing.
No, I just always learned by doing it. I had a very good mentor in the business. Me into the I was managing musicians before I met him. It was a different type of thing with more.
Yeah.
He was a legendary manager, more in the. He's one of the legendary Catskill bookers and manager,
Mm.
and learned a lot from him. And I learned a lot from some of the people who I was signed to when I was younger.
Mm.
When I was signed to a record company, the owner used to tell me what he would do. This is some of the in the earlier days of the record business where not everybody was quite super ethical.
Mhm.
So he used to tell me all the ways he used to, I don't want to say take advantage of some of the acts he would sign, but I learned what to watch out for from him telling me uh, how he would say, well, this group, they came looking for their royalties. So I bought him a Cadillac. So it's a way of, he'd distract them. But,
Yeah.
they weren't getting their full value that way. So and certain things to watch out for in contracts and whatnot. And I've learned lessons, from clients who are pretty clever and found some loopholes in our agreement, and they use them
Mm.
in a semi non-ethical way
Yeah.
against me. So I made some corrections to that, and some other managers have made corrections to their contracts, which they've shared with me, because most of the time, 95 times out of 100, if not higher, it is the actor who will screw over their representative rather than vice versa.
Yeah. No, I believe it.
So that's hard. I mean, you've heard, everybody from Wesley Snipes on down and around and across that have, decided not to stop, not decided they didn't want to you paying for the services that they were receiving,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't be at a certain stage where they were without the person.
Yeah. They kind of forget that like it's I don't
So
want to
there,
be mean to be like say like I made you, but in some ways there is some truth to that.
yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
you got
people
them in the
change.
doors.
Yeah, when people say, "Oh, I'd never do that," when they may some people start making money, they change. Some people do not. Some people are very loyal, and you never have to worry about them, and
Yeah.
they will surprise you with their generosity beyond loyalty,
Yeah.
and that's rewarding.
Yeah.
That keeps you going for the people that are just, why are you doing this? So there's some
Yeah.
things that don't make sense, but that's the human can.
What are you listening to right now?
You.
I knew you were going to say
If you're
that.
just whatever it's contemporary musically, but I am, since I've been out of the music industry, I'm less involved with, and I just
Mm.
try to find a good song to go running to.
What are you watching right now?
I watch basically all the Law and Orders. Part of that's professional because I need to see what's going on. Sometimes I'll see people I know on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch my share of scripted TV.
Mm.
Some of it for pleasure, and some of it is a mixture of, sometimes I have to tell a client of mine if they get an audition for one of the shows what the basic themata is if they're not watching, and then I recommend that they watch an episode or two before they do their audition to get a flavor of the pacing. Pacing can differ on different shows.
Have you watched Succession?
Stranger, I watched the first episode and I did not get into it, so no, I have not. But
Okay.
I've watched, Reynolds.
Do you watch films?
Yeah, when they're on cable.
So you don't like to go to the movies?
Not anymore. They charge too much. When I had a film of mine that was almost produced, came this close to being produced, it was my plan at the time. Movies were about $7 a seat. It was my plan to go to the movie theater where it'd be premiering or wherever I could find it playing and give everybody $1 back because I just thought it was too expensive. I'm paying for cable. I'll wait till it comes on cable.
Well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate your time.
We're just getting started.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Had fun.
Okay, that about does it for part 3 of my interview with Seth Greenky. I want to thank him personally for coming on. As always, you can find me at Justin Yachts. Please like, share, and subscribe, and consider checking out the YouTube channel. And I will see you next time on the DMF.